Good Friday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk. This an insider's guide to real estate life and the pursuit of happiness, presented by the Yes Team Realtors. Trusted advisors in the game, Keith and Yonna Smith. Now, folks, Keith Smith is back in studio after a brief hiatus away from us here in our Market Street headquarters. Judah Wickhauer is our director, and we need to continue some off-air conversations before we talk shop and affordability and real estate in a market that's on absolute fire. So the distinguished gentleman, interestingly, the distinguished gentleman came up with that name as well. The distinguished gentleman has dubbed us some nicknames. So he's Batman, he's the star of the show. I'm Robin, and now we have a nickname for our friend Judah Wickhauer.
We're proposed.
We're proposed.
Our proposed nickname. Right. So my proposal is
Batman is on screen.
Batman's on screen right now.
On screen.
People are seeing Batman on screen. Thank you, Judah. There he is right there.
See? Yeah. He has to be Alfred.
Right?
There's no other way. But, not to be inclusive, we want to ask Judah, what would he like to be? You don't get the opportunity.
I know I don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. You are Robin, period. End of freaking story. Judah, what would you like to be?
Anyone else I might choose would be wearing tights, so I think I'll be Alfred.
I know, I'm wearing tights because of Robin. Oh, welcome back, Keith Smith.
Tights.
Another thing you'll notice, and I hope our friend Quentin Beckham is watching, someone tag Quentin Beckham. So when Quentin Beckham filled in for you, our friend Quentin Beckham had cargo shorts and a button-down short-sleeve shirt. So I didn't want to, upstand him, So I took the blazer off, I rolled the sleeves up, and I went casual. Now that you're back, I had to put on the Brooks Brothers, baby.
Well, we have standards here.
We have
jacket, no tie, but collared shirt, jacket. We have standards here. By the way, thanks to Quentin, and thank you very much to Michael Guthrie for filling in while Yonna and I were out of town. So it's. We're very fortunate to count on folks like that can fill in, and we tried to do some stuff remotely. One was successful,
right?
One was not so much successful.
And the irony was,
one was in the high-tech town of the country,
right?
And the other one was not so much the high-tech town in the country. Right. So who knew, right? Go figure. The one that was in the high-tech town just fell apart, and the one that didn't work perfectly. Yeah, so I feel great to be back. It's great to be here. It's great to be in Charlottesville. It's just, it just feels good. A little bit of jet lag, but we're hanging in there. And thank you to MarieBette, and thank you for winning this award that they did, or this grant that did, this $25,000, which I couldn't think of a better group of folks to go to. And so hopefully they're going to be doing some great things with it, I know for sure.
So you have a lot to cover
today.
I
really just wanted to reconnect with you guys, to be honest.
We missed you.
I missed you too, very much so. But, we've been having this conversation about affordability and affordable housing, right? And how there's a difference between it. And it's been an ongoing discussion. So affordability is, in essence, how much house can I buy for my monthly payment? And interest rates make a huge impact on it, if not the largest impact on it. Affordable housing is a different term, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, because part of what I was doing out west is I did visit virtually a city council meeting at Portland, where they adopted this RIP, which is
crazy acronym. Great mission, though.
A great mission. There's residential infill project, and I think, knowing Portland as I do, they actually are comfortable with the fact that it's
RIP.
Right. It's keep. What is the term for? Keep Portland weird, and that
marches to the beat of their own drum.
There you go. There you go. So what I did is I created a slide. So if you wouldn't mind putting the intro slide in, Judah. So I think this is important, right? So to put a visual or the numbers of, hey, if I'm buying a $300,000 house, how much is that going to cost me per month? So these numbers, just to be clear, as far as the monthly payment is only principal and interest, right? Doesn't take into taxes, doesn't take care of insurance, because that kind of fluctuates. Thank you for doing that, Judah. or Alfred. He is definitely Alfred, right?
That means we have to get Liza in the mix too.
Ooh.
As the costume. And then we could have a great group photo afterwards on Real Talk, where it's Batman, Robin, Alfred, and then what Liza is.
So I have to dig.
What's that?
Bat dog.
I was
Bat
just
dog.
saying,
Bat
I got to
dog.
dig into my 1960s Batman cartoon.
Comic book.
Comic books,
Yeah.
cartoons, but there was a bat dog, wasn't
Let
there?
me see if I can find
There was. Oh, he's
Uh-oh,
gonna find.
Googling.
There's Alfred.
He's Googling.
There's Alfred. He's gonna
Alfred
find
doing his
Bat
thing.
Dog.
So if you wouldn't mind putting that slide back up, Jude, I'd
Yeah.
appreciate it. So, so if you're doing a $300,000 house, so in 1970,
Yeah.
right? I was a young lad at that point. That was 8.8% interest. You were paying little over $2,300. 1980, same $300,000. It was jumped up to 12. When Yonna and I bought in '88, it was 18%. We didn't buy a $300,000 house, bought a $100,000 house. And we're using $300,000 because that's kind of the medium sales price these days. So that's the reason I picked that number. Some a little higher, some a little lower on it. You know, that was $3,200. 1990 was $2,200. 2000 was $1,800. 2010 to 14. Today, at 2.96%, which by the way is a realistic interest rate, right? It's $1,258.
It's amazing.
And we talked about this on the show because do a search. What the heck can you rent?
Nothing. Nothing.
Not that much.
Not in Charlottesville or Alamo County.
Even in Fluvanna County, we were helping a client when we were away trying to find a rental at Lake Monticello, and the cheapest I could find was $1,600
For $1,600 at the lake in the gates.
inside the gates. Yeah.
So that was it a 4 or it was a 3?
3-2,
3-2.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Sure.
You know, nice, cute little lot. It was a nice home.
That's a nice monthly rent for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
It is.
16. I mean, that's the top of the market for rental there, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're a
For
little
that?
late. No, actually,
There's higher than
it's
that?
starting to go higher. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little later in the show about why I think foreclosures are not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I do believe I think you're going to see, you know, evictions increase. Unfortunately, the good news is the Virginia State Supreme Court put a moratorium on that till I believe September, and
Saw that.
whoever's chiming in might give me the actual date on that. So that's a little bit, and then of course, you know, the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission is doing a relief program, which is moving along swimmingly, and we're actually looking for some more money.
Nice.
Before we move on, though, you know, you constantly talk about how I teach you.
Yeah.
You taught me something this morning.
What's that? Airplane mode.
Put my phone on airplane mode.
There you
right?
go. You
So,
don't get the phone calls.
dude, we've been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
And now you tell me this.
Sorry. Airplane mode.
So we got to explain why it's important.
Well, the reason it's important is because the distinguished gentleman has the best in custom craftsmanship
No.
in his ears right now.
No.
And he has the best hearing aids that money can buy. And when his phone rings, they are Bluetoothed, and it looks like you have that photo ready to go. His phone is Bluetoothed to his hearing aids. So periodically when we do this program, I look over and the distinguished gentleman is getting poignant and deep in thought. And then next thing I know, he's doing something like this. And Judah, please hope that the camera's on me. So he's giving the best point ever. And then next thing I know, he does, what is going on? And it took me 6 months to realize it's because the phone is going off in your hearing aid.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now airplane mode, they won't ring.
Who knows? Right? But you waited 2 years to tell me
I
this.
apologize.
Robin does not do that to Batman.
Robin failed.
Robin failed.
What we needed was Bat Dog, and Judah apparently has Bat Dog on screen.
Let me see a picture of Batman.
Hold on.
Oh, he's okay. Alfred's coming, getting Bat Dog.
Sorry, Alfred, we're pushing a little
Sorry
bit
about
too hard. But yeah, so, you know, to go back to those numbers, it's just, you know, a $300,000 house, PI, just, you know, principal and interest, you know, at a sub 3% mortgage, you're between $1,200 and $1,300 a month.
That's great.
And there's a whole bunch of factors going into how much money you put down. That's taken into consideration. This is the zero down FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
It's a no-brainer.
Kind of things.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, and that's why the market is. What's your terminology?
Red hot?
No,
En fuego?
There you go, en fuego.
Well, how many listings you got at the lake right now?
We sold out all of our listings when we were away.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's desperately there's a lack of inventory.
It's a good and bad problem. It's a good problem.
It's called a positive problem.
It's a good problem.
Yeah, but the reality of it is there's people out there that need these homes, and there's just no product available for them to buy, and that's something hopefully on the show that we kind of help folks realize that this is a good time to put your house on the market, and it's a good time to sell, it's a good time to buy.
So this is a perfect segue into what you want to cover. It's interesting in that you do not anticipate or forecast or crystal ball or predict a foreclosure crisis. However, you do forecast, crystal ball predict a eviction crisis. Very different. Foreclosures, someone getting, lack of better phrase, pushed out of their home by the lender because they're behind on payment. Evictions, someone getting pushed out of their home by the landlord. One is ownership, one is rental.
Correct. So to be clear, there will be an increase of foreclosures, right? It's just it's historically low, and we'll show some slides here in a little while on that. But it's not going to be 2008.
Got it.
Right. So let me see if we can probably jump right to that real quick. Hang on one second. Slide number 4, if you don't mind, Judah, please, or Alfred. That's it. I'm going to keep on calling you Alfred.
I mean, he's got it on screen.
So did we put the bat dog one up?
Not yet.
Okay, good, cool. I want to check that out when we get a chance. So if you take a look at this, Q3 and 99. So these are numbers of consumers with foreclosure notices, right? So these are new foreclosures. So thank you, Judah. So in 99 Q3, there was 136. Between 2008, 2012, somewhere around 2009 and 10 was the height of it, and that was in Q2 of 2009. There was almost 600,000, 566,000 new foreclosures. Now, Q1 2020, this is delayed information, right? So this is not second quarter.
This is not COVID numbers.
Well, it catches a bit of it, right? But really doesn't because
you're saying it catches the back end of March.
It catches the back end of March, and typically a foreclosure takes a little bit of time to get into the process. Right.
So this is pretty much not COVID numbers then.
I would say it's not COVID numbers.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested to see once, because that's the latest data I could get from the feds.
Is this NAR or CAR?
This is from the Fed.
Okay,
This is from the feds.
Gotcha.
So we're roughly 75,000. Simple numbers. We're about half of the 99 Q3. But somebody who's a lot smarter than me can figure out what the difference is between 75,000 and 566. But they're holding, the feds calculate 150,000 as kind of the norm throughout the country. This is nationwide, right?
Sure.
This isn't local. So, we're starting off at a super low spot. But that's a huge difference between today or first quarter and 2009. So look, the from my perspective, and we started trying to do this the other day before we ran out of Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Wi-Fi
bandwidth on that. There's basically, in my opinion, 2 reasons why we're not going to go back to this 500,000-600,000 crisis. That was a huge crisis. Those of us who lived through that understand that. On the other hand, if you are in the middle of a foreclosure, I don't care if it's one of them, it's horrible.
It's a big deal.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
It's horrific. I've personally been through it. I know what it's like. It's horrible. And much like you're in a recession if you don't have a job. I don't care what the numbers say. You don't have a job, you're in a recession. I don't care what the numbers say about foreclosures. If you're being hounded by a bank and all their pit bulls, it's a horrible position to be in. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So, but the reality of it is, this interest rate, this first slide that we talked out, when you're sub 3 and you can afford $300,000 for $1,200, it becomes very realistic, right? You are not paying an inflated thing. And the second issue is the appreciation of homes is not going through the roof.
Yeah.
So what people were doing, unfortunately, back then, they were using, as you said, they were using their houses as an ATM.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Right.
And you got to really have both of those, in my opinion. And, there's some research I've done, some pretty smart economists with a bunch of PhDs after their name, pretty much echo that. So we kind of called this COVID deep V. I'm kind of calling it now. I don't think you're going to see an inverted V like we did on that. Time will tell. I'm curious to see if there's any feedback on the feed. People telling me I'm full of what.
No one. And you do have your fellow agents watching, guys. If you
disagree with me,
if you disagree or agree, put them in the feed.
Disagree makes it better.
Disagree. Put your perspective in the feed. Will we see a foreclosure crisis on the horizon? My feedback to that would be we need to see the numbers at the end of 2020.
We're crystal balling here,
yeah,
right?
we're crystal. We're
what do we say this for the sake of
the sake of a talk show? And I love when you do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love when you do that. I also think one of the reasons we won't locally here is because you just did a very good snapshot. It just makes so much more sense with where interest rates are to buy than rent. I mean, it's a lower monthly price point.
Yeah. So the reality of it is, and it's a horrible thing for me to say, and I'm uncomfortable even saying it. Unfortunately, the people that are going to get hurt the most in this recession is the service worker, the folks
who are already living paycheck to paycheck.
Well, we all do that in some level of that, but the reality of it is, those are the folks that are in the renting environment, and those are the ones that are going to get. I'm afraid what's going to happen in October and November. Right, and I plan on bringing in the next couple of weeks. I've been kind of traveling the last few weeks, but I'm going to bring in some experts on the rental side. Folks from Piedmont Housing Alliance and some other folks that, hey, so what are you seeing out there in the rental end of it, so we can get some good information out to folks. The other thing that's very interesting that I did some research on this is the forbearance is leveling off. So if you could do slide number 2. Alfred?
I saw that.
So that's interesting. So we're about half. So we kind of started in 529 with about 5 million people taking it, and we're now down to around 4. It's not 3. Excuse me, 2.5. I apologize. So it's kind of even off. Thank you, Judah. It's kind of evening off a little bit. So I think that's good. So that means people are paying. Half of them kind of paid it off already.
Yeah, keep that on screen for us so we can analyze. I like it.
So it's an interesting thing. That scared the hell out of me when it was put in because I've got family members who took in this opportunity, and I counseled them. I said, be very careful about the repayment program on this thing.
It's a lump sum, right?
Well, no. So each lender, each servicer
has their own standards.
That's exactly right. So that's the scary part. So there is no uniform. You could say the word.
Yeah, there's no uniform policies.
There you go.
Yeah,
I was looking for a different word. But in any event, so you've got and it's still available, by the way. So if you wish to tap into that, you need to call your service provider, right? You get your little online or your book. If you do it old school like Yonna and I, you actually have a book with coupon tickets in it.
Yeah,
they have these things.
Sure. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you call them and you say, hey, tell me how this repayment's going to get done. Some of them, like my family member, it just got tacked on to the back end of it, but the interest accrued, right? So it just wasn't a flat out timeout that you're not paying for this 6 months, and they added 6 months on the back end of it. They added the principal on the back end of it plus the interest that you accrued on that 6 months, which, as anybody knows, if they take a look at amortization tables on the front end of a loan, and these folks happen to be
all interest.
And exactly right.
Back end's the principal.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So these folks happen to be in the very beginning of their loan,
right,
a couple of years. So all that amount of interest plus the principal got tacked on the back end of it.
Yeah, but
so,
at the same time, it saved them in a pinch. Alternatively, the
alternative
was much worse.
Exactly right. They decided to do it, and it worked. It's working out well from them. But I just said, hey, make sure you get something in writing from your servicer, say this is the way it's going to do. Make sure everybody agrees to it.
Don't you feel that? And we had the jobless numbers reported this week for the first time
under a million.
First time since the pandemic hit, the number of unemployed people or people claiming unemployment
Yeah.
was under 1 million for a week. I'm going to throw this to you, Keith. You just saw West Coast, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw what was going on out there. You know this market inside and out. East Coast. You know real estate inside. You know business inside. Do you feel we're turning? Isn't it? Don't you feel like we're turning a little bit? And what I mean by turning, I mean the economy.
Yeah, except for the poor
F&B, the food and beverage.
and the person that lost their job and they can't find one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I think from a macro perspective, it's turning. The real estate, we talked about this all the time, never slowed down. It
Yeah.
had a bit of a
Little
speed,
hiccup.
little speed bump,
Yeah.
and then it just keeps on going. I'll tell you, we didn't see any of it out west, right? Didn't see any of it when we were on the Eastern Shore. But that's not official, but we didn't have seen any of it. So I just think.
And this is perfect for slide 3. What we're talking about right here, Judah Wickower. If you want to get that right there, you see what's going on? I want to slide 3.
You need me to leave? You need me to leave again? You want me to leave?
He said,
I'm waiting.
"That's
I'm waiting
straight."
for the bat dog slide.
You got the photo?
Let me know.
All right, we'll call it Bat Dog whenever you want to. You get to
thank
call
you.
that shot, Batman.
Oh, thanks. I
You
appreciate
get to call the
that.
shot. He's the executive producer. I'm just the lowly producer on the show. Here's your slide right here.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was talking about. Thank you for very much. It comes from Black Knight, which is a great organization, a firm that does statistics on it. But if you wouldn't mind putting that back up.
It's on.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
Thank you. So, a bunch of extended, right? Removed while performing, so over 1.2 million did, expired while delinquent and paid off their mortgage. So, you can see that people are kind of coming off
Getting
of it.
out of it.
They're getting into their jobs, they're
Yeah.
getting out of it,
Yeah.
they're being smart about it. So, again, it's the same mentality. I just think the mentality of 2004, 5,
Taught
6
us.
taught us.
Right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited because that means we learned.
Yeah, 2008, 2009, when I was launching this business, bought my first place, got it a condo for phase 1 of a 5-phase development at the absolute worst time to buy it. $5K of appreciation in every phase. This is the first place I ever bought, 2008. Then the market went where, and next thing you know, $1.85 is like a $1.50.
So we talk about millennials all the time, right? This is this 29, 39, so forth and so on. So my youngest daughter and my new son-in-law is in that age group. And every conversation that you would have with them, now keep in mind, my youngest daughter really lived this. We talked about this, if you're losing your job and all this kind of
She saw it firsthand.
She saw it firsthand.
Yeah.
But if you have a conversation with some millennials that lived through this as young people, they remember this.
Yeah.
They whole out remember this, and that gives me a lot of hope.
I straight up remember it, dude.
It gives me a lot of hope. That doesn't mean you don't, there's risk in world, right? There's risk in what everybody does, but
I think we're much more calculating with our risk taking now because of going through 2008, 2009. Even seeing it from my parents' perspective as small business owners, with them growing up and going through it, and they were B2B. Dad's a CPA. Mom did front of the house, so she was the very outgoing one that everybody came back to.
Did the chemistry just work?
Yeah, I saw what you were thinking, and then I was like,
It was a phone call. It was a phone call.
It was not a phone call because that's on airplane mode, dude.
No, I didn't. I didn't put it on.
You didn't put it on airplane
No,
mode?
I wanted to give you the
Okay.
fun of me going.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
About them all of us remembering.
Yeah, so I remember it. Yonna remembers because we lived it. Most millennials whose parents have lived through this. I mean, if you can, Judah, if you wouldn't mind putting slide 4 up again, if you don't mind.
It's a good slide.
So just keep in mind, right? And I'd have to dig back in the previous slide, right? So this is 566,000 in Q2.
Yeah.
Right? If you remember the slide, we did some shows about new construction. Thank you, Judah. It's 560. Remember we doing some new slides? If we go new construction, if you go back in that point, it it was less than that number.
Yeah.
So we had new construction units less.
I remember that.
Exactly right. So it was like 400, 500,000, something like this. So just to put the order of magnitude of nearly $600,000 foreclosures in one quarter versus roughly that amount of new construction, new starts in 1 year, it was just insane. I mean, folks like our dear friend Bill Tucker in Charlottesville Settlement, they had whole teams set up for short sales and foreclosures and stuff like that. So it just doesn't feel that way. I'm not an economist, right? I just lived through this stuff. It just doesn't feel that way. Now, who knows? 2021 we might be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
At the moment.
100%. So, I mean, this is what the tea leaves I'm reading. I'm going to throw them to you. Now, and we will stipulate, both of us, if you don't have work right now or you're risk at losing your home, we are empathetic, and if you're in that position, it's a terrible spot to be in.
Well, we got the solution for you, right? Because we can't point out an issue without offering a solution.
Sure.
Right. So and if you need some help, go into the feed. We'll connect you with the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission folks.
Absolutely.
There is money left over to help if you need help for mortgage payments, and this is grant. This is free money.
Sure.
Or your rent payment. So don't feel like there isn't hope.
Absolutely.
And don't feel like there isn't help out there. Is. Please reach out to it. We're hopefully in November. We'll be announcing on this show this Regional Housing Partnership website.
Awesome.
Where there will be an app and you can get help a lot faster.
Yeah. And where I was going with that is, and well said, I'm glad you offered the solution there. But I mean, Keith, we have an economy that's starting to turn. We have a lot of folks that have saved money because they have not gone out. We're not going to happy hours. We're not going to the breweries, the restaurants, because we're staying home. So, and we have pent-up demand. I mean, I'm a positive, optimist guy. I'm a glass is half full. I'm a realist. But there's a lot of factors that indicate that we could have a gangbusters economy. We have percolation or conversations being started about a vaccine. Now, I don't expect one to 2021.
You mean the one from freaking Russia?
I disregard the Russia one.
There you go.
As you do, right?
I do for very good reasons.
Yeah, for very good reasons. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So does he. Judah got a chuckle out of that as well. I mean, I feel like 2021 could be gangbusters. I mean, it could be one of the best ones you've ever had.
Yeah, you never, and we will never get political on the show.
Yeah.
I will not ever allow it.
Sure.
But historically, election years or the years after election year can be a little goofy from an economy perspective. So
how about real estate perspective?
Yeah, again, 3%, no inventory. I mean, look, you don't have to have a PhD in economics to understand supply and demand.
Right.
So we have a huge demand, we have a very little supply. And what's happening is the government, through its regulatory processes, is kind of keeping that a little balanced. Right, because it's so difficult to get a loan now, and as it should be. Right, this shouldn't be. And we talk about this all the time. This shouldn't get a $500,000 loan, right? So it's. I think the systems are in place to help move it along. Do we need more inventory? Absolutely. And a little bit later, we'll talk about.
Was that a perfect segue into that right now?
I'd like to talk about the Charlottesville market a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit, because I think people, we talk about it on the show, people are moving out.
Sure.
And that trend has been happening for a couple of years. NAR statistics kind of prove it.
National Association of Realtors.
Thank you. And, I think COVID kind of moved it along a little bit and put it front and center, but that trend has been happening. But I didn't have time for a formal spreadsheet, so these are handwritten notes. But the reality of it is, and I just kind of took a look at Charlottesville this morning, detached. This is the last, going back 3 months on it. 2019 versus 20. We tried to talk a little bit about this on Tuesday. So in 2019, there was 83 homes that were sold. These are just sold units, right? Detached, Charlottesville. 20, it was 71. So we're under, right, in 20 versus 21. Days on market about the same, 10. But the most interesting thing is it is moving up in value. So 19 we were at 374, and 2020 we're at 390. So we're roughly 16 grand up year over year. A nice,
that's what, 5%?
And that is what we've been talking about, right? A healthy increase is
5%.
Somewhere between 3 and 6%.
Yeah.
Right, and go back to that slide where prior to this 2009 insanity, crisis that was there, they were double digits, high double digits,
right.
And so it was an unrealistic, just kind of built on top of built, and so you would, a typical appreciation should be somewhere around 3 to 6%. Anything higher, that's great, right? But when the whole market is like 10, 12, 15%.
Yeah, it's unsustainable.
It's unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. You got comments coming in.
Yeah, cool.
Neil Williamson liked the slide from Black Knight. He said, Black Knight, as in you, Keith Smith, Batman. Neil Williamson.
Did he really say that, or did you add that?
No, he really did. Yeah. He really did. Neil Williamson, we love when you watch this broadcast, and we love the Free Enterprise Forum.
I did some interesting reading from Neil, and
it's phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, we need to get him on the show, but he likes radio because
he came on Barbara Lundgren's show.
He did, really.
You saw that.
Barbara's
the Virginia Wedding and Event Show. She's a little more charming than you are. She's
better,
the fairy godmother. You're the distinguished gentleman.
There you go.
Michael Guthrie says, "Don't forget, Piedmont Housing Alliance can help folks as well."
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
So this question coming in. So
just to play off of that, Michael. Yeah. Thank you for the prod. So that's what we're trying to do on the Regional Housing Partnership with this website, because there's so many opportunities. Folks don't really know where to go. So, and then one of the neat things about this, through a grant through Virginia Department of VDH, I believe it's VDH. There's going to be a call-in center. So not everybody has a phone, has a smartphone or a computer. So you can call. It's multilingual, and they will be able to point you in the right direction.
Love it.
So we're trying to really push that rock uphill.
Love it. We'll give some love to Pearl Certification and Roy Wheeler Realty Company.
Well, we just gave some shout out to Michael and Roy Wheeler. So thank you for filling it in, and thank you for always being a constructive participant in what we're doing here. As far as Pearl goes, it was great to see Joe the other day. He's a homie from back home.
He is a homie. This question coming in from Laura. So where are you going to say the market's going to go for the rest of the year, Keith?
I'm going to have some coffee.
Yeah. She's in the game. Where's the market going to go for the rest of the year? It's a good question.
Yeah, so I think we've seen it. I think it's on a continuing this 3 to 6% appreciation, but the lack of inventory, and there's some really smart folks on.
Christopher Eagle, welcome to the broadcast. Barbara Lundgren's watching right now. Rosemary Postle, welcome to the broadcast.
So, there's always the unexpected, right, which one can't plan for. In the Marine Corps, they would tell you, everything, best plan in the world falls apart once that first round goes downrange.
Of course.
But the reality of it is, if everything's tracking the way it's tracking, I see what we're doing for the rest of next year. I think what she's really talking about is I'm losing my bet.
No, I don't think she's talking about that. Well, we can talk about the bet. We have a friendly wager for Q4. We don't have to go down that road. I think she legitimately respects your opinion and wants to know where it's going.
Yeah, so I think more of the same. I don't see any drastic changes in it, but lack of inventory is going to have an impact on prices, I think, at some point. It really hasn't. It has gently, right? But it hasn't. We're not doing the 04, 05, 06, right? You buy a house today for $300,000, 2 weeks later you sell it for $350,000. Right. That's not happening. Mainly because the regulators are not happening. The appraisers are not letting that happen on that end of it. So this gentle increase of equity or value is a good thing. So I think it's more of the same. I'd love to hear what our opinion is.
Yeah, give your thoughts, guys, for what you think is going to happen for the rest of the year and into 2021. I'm hoping 2021 is gangbusters with the pent-up demand and the cash people have that they've been saving.
Well, so that's an interesting thing because I didn't prepare a slide for it. It was one of the things I was reading in preparation for the show this morning. is the amount of personal savings has gone up.
Of course. We ain't going out.
Tremendously. Well, yeah. I think people are realizing that they need to save some money, and I think
I'll tell you what happened with us.
Us meaning you
Family.
and your lovely.
Okay.
When are you going to let me babysit your kid and you two guys go out on a date?
I would do it.
Is Mrs. Miller watching?
I would do it tonight. Mrs. Miller is watching. It's not me. You have to persuade.
Well, let's not do it tonight because I got jet lag. So.
I would do it tonight. It's Mama Bear. It's Mama Bear. Just our family's situation, right? We love food.
Sure.
We love drink. We, membership over at ACAC.
Sure.
Another spot. We put all that on hold for 90 days.
Sure.
Didn't leave the house. Me and you, we've been safe and wearing masks and been going out and being social distance.
Sure.
We, I think, have been more pioneering when it comes to leaving the house and going about our lives with a mask on and safe. Would you say we've been doing that probably from the beginning?
That's what Batman and Robin does.
Haven't we been doing that?
We've been
doing it safely.
Been doing it safely.
Most people have not.
I disagree with that.
More moderated than we've been doing.
Yeah. I believe in the good in people straight off the bat.
Okay.
So, until you prove otherwise, I believe in the good in people.
I don't follow that point. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I think all people were doing the right thing,
Yeah.
what they perceive to be the right thing. I really do.
Don't you feel like we did the right thing, too?
I know we did the right thing.
Yeah, we did the right thing.
We did the right
I
thing.
didn't do anything. You didn't do anything wrong.
Still doing the right thing.
Still doing the right thing.
Yeah, still
right.
doing the right thing.
Right is unique to that person's circumstance.
It is, but you should wear a mask.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
End of story.
We do.
End of
We
story.
go out and wash our hands.
As soon as we walk off of this
Yeah.
table, I put a mask on.
We don't pick our nose. We stay away from. I stay away from you. We don't give hugs before the shows. We do it completely safe. Judah I thought that was funny, right?
Which is a struggle for me. I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger, which is a struggle for
Christopher Eagle, Real Estate 3's got a perspective to offer.
Sure, cool.
He says, gentlemen, I agree. I think people are ready and more prepared to buy compared to back in the spring when COVID and quarantine was crazy. I think 2021 will be a great year, especially if a vaccine pops out. A pandemic and an election makes things even weirder. Just need more inventory for all of us. Christopher Eagle.
I just don't, I think from an emotional perspective, if a vaccine comes out, and
I am less confident about a vaccine creating consumer confidence. And what I mean by that is because we can't.
So what's creating consumer confidence in your opinion? I've got one.
Can I say?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so
that's the reason I asked you.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. You did ask that question. I think what's creating consumer confidence is people, and Judah's got perspective on this too, is people are, and I'm not getting political.
Sure.
Okay. People are understanding the numbers.
Sure.
They are seeing the numbers from a deaths standpoint and not just a hospitalizations and cases standpoint, but actually the deaths metric. People are becoming more confident with PPE, with the mask,
Sure.
and social distancing.
Sure.
And people have more confidence in when they go out to the grocery store that people will wear masks and social distance as well. So I think that's creating consumer confidence.
So
And
I'll add a little.
stock market, my portfolio is crushing. Stock market's up.
Sure.
I think that's what do you think?
So I think I'm going to be more on the street level.
Okay.
Kind of. I think people are getting it. People are educating themselves to it. They understand it. So from my walk from MarieBette to here, I had my mask on, right? And I noticed somebody coming towards me who didn't have a mask on. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. That person looked at me. The light bulb went on. They put their mask on. When we walked past each other, I said, thank you for doing that. And that person said, you're welcome. And we just walked past each other on that end of it. So I think there's this consciousness out there. And I may be wrong. Again, I'm just a positive guy, period.
Yeah.
Right? I may be wrong, but I think people are getting it. Right? And I don't care what color, what stripe, what planet you come from, right? The reality of it is, put a damn mask on. It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah,
and you know what? You can get creative. You and I get creative. We got masks with mustaches.
Yeah,
and
you got the gator.
I got the
I
gator.
got the colorful one that you gave me.
Yeah.
I got one from Panera, and then I got the straight up ugly medical one. But you know where? Another reason I'm not as confident about the vaccine is because we can't even get everyone to take the flu vaccine.
Well,
and on top of that, who's to say the vaccine's going to be super ubiquitous and accessible and approachable?
so I've got a doctor in the family now.
Right, you do, son-in-law.
And I was having this conversation with him when we were visiting, and I said, "So tell me how, I don't know this world. Tell me how this works, and all this stuff." And in his opinion, and I trusted implicitly, this whole Russian thing was bullshit.
Right, of course. We all know that, right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The fact that we even are talking about it is ridiculous.
It dominated the news cycle. It moved the indexes.
Yeah, that's insane.
The stock markets.
That's just stupid. That's just stupid. But in any event, the reality of it is we're just so far away from actually getting it done, ramping it up. But he said to me exactly the same thing that you said. We can't get people to take the flu shot.
Right.
My response to this is, but this is not the flu, right? So this is different, right? If there's something that's proven that can keep people safe, if you don't take the flu shot, you don't take that shot, then something's just not right.
Right. And I guess throwing this back to you, and people are appreciating and the conversation here, throwing it back to you, the difference is with this vaccine, I just don't think that we're going to have early 2021 the opportunity to go into CVS or Wegmans and get the vaccine. Like now with Wegmans, we can go into Wegmans, we can get the vaccine for the flu,
Sure.
and then they give us a $10 voucher for pizza.
Yeah.
And get a pizza and walk out.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't we do that?
Well, that tells you something.
What? What's it tell?
That people, they have to
they incentivize.
They have to entice people to get a flu shot. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm hopeful. I will not trust anything from Russia because of my personal experience.
Would you take the first iteration, or would you wait to see?
Oh, that's a great question.
You know what I'm saying? The first iteration of the vaccine, would you inject into your body? My neighbor, and I'm not going to say who it is, my neighbor's, as soon as there's a vaccine, I'm getting that damn needle and I'm stabbing it into my body myself. That's what you told me the other day.
Well, so what do we talk about on this show all the time? There's a quiz.
Trusted advisor?
There you go. Damn.
I know you, homie. I know you, homie.
What was that? The chemistry, right?
I know you, Batman.
So
we just fought the Joker last night.
It's funny. I watched that movie on the plane back.
Which one?
Joker, the one with
Heath Ledger.
No,
Is that Heath Ledger? Isn't that Heath Ledger?
No.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
What
that one was dark.
Disturbing is a better choice of words.
Right.
But the dude won an Oscar. He deserved it. He was.
You watched it on the plane?
I watched on a plane. That was.
Did Yonna watch it too?
Yonna did not watch it.
Okay.
That is not Yonna's style of movie.
Disturbing.
Literally disturbing is the only thing I could. Would you?
I haven't seen it.
He hasn't seen it?
I know it's disturbing, so I'm like,
Is that why you chose not to see it?
Yeah. So what did you do?
Judicam. Let's. Come on. Okay.
Do the.
Can we get the hands in there and do the?
I don't see that. I know it's disturbing.
You got Bat Dog?
I'd love to see Bat Dog.
All right, I got a few of them.
Oh, he's got a few of Bat Dogs. Get
oh.
us on screen, guys. There's Judah Wickower.
All right.
Our Alfred.
Here's the cartoon version with Batman and Bat Dog.
Okay, so look at the screen. We got Bat Dog. So we have a dog in our studio called Liza who keeps spoils rottenly. Every time he comes in, he gives her 18 treats. There's Bat Dog. That's the cartoon version.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, here is
That's not the '60s version. That's an old.
Are your pecs like that, Keith?
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
So the suit I got's got it all padded.
Oh, okay, it's padded?
It's padded.
That's smart. Oh, there's Bat Dog.
It's Bat Dog.
There's Bat Dog. That's good, Judah. And you got another one. Judah.
So
and here's another one. Full on, crime fighting.
You stepped your game up this morning,
Yeah,
Judah.
just a second.
Okay, all right. That one's pretty adorable.
I got to find out where you got that one because we're going to put that on Liza.
Liza. There's Bad Dog. That's a good one. That's a little,
we got to figure
darker.
out what
Look
that
at the
guy-
screen, guys.
We got to Google that. That's Eliza, and then we'll just have a whole Batman themed show for
Yeah,
October.
that would be hilarious. We'll get Lloyd Snook down the hall to take the group photo. You'll be Batman, I'll be Robin, he'll be Alfred, and then Bad Dog.
Have we settled on Alfred? We're good with Alfred? Okay, there you
Doesn't
go.
mind Alfred. He likes Alfred.
Well, Alfred's the king. So let's talk about the residential infill projects.
Oh, please, R.I.P.
RIPs, and believe me, I've had a little bit of workings on this. This is about a 6-year project out in Seattle. It came together with, if you could do slide 6, please, Judah. It came in as part of, thank you. It came in as part of this team that I was on with Charlottesville, the ADU, auxiliary dwelling units on it. Kind of got to know the folks in Portland real well, and did a little bit of consulting work for these guys on that end. Very small impact on it, but what they've done, I think, is going to be cutting edge.
Yeah.
And I think is going to migrate around the country.
Absolutely.
On the end of it. So, Judah, if you can keep this up for a while, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So basically, what they've done is they would take a neighborhood like Belmont. Right. The first thing that they've done is they kicked out all the parking regulations, which is huge.
Yeah.
Parking costs more per square foot than actually to build a unit.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Very much so. And particularly, and so you and I don't want to get too much into the details on it, on this end of it. I will tell you, this got passed on Wednesday in Portland. I attended it virtually, the particular meeting on it, spoke in favor of it. Actually shot this off to Michael Payne and Heather Hill.
Nice.
By the way, happy birthday, Heather, a couple days late.
Happy birthday, Heather Hill.
And said, look, we love an opportunity to see if we can make this work in Charlottesville. But
And they respond?
they have not responded.
Gotcha.
So basically, you take all these different product types, ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units. What they do is they can do different size units, duplexes, triplexes, quads. In this particular case, it goes up to 6 units. There's a bunch of regulatory requirements. You got to have certain setbacks and sizes. But one of the things that they did is they reduced the minimum building sizes dramatically. The average size home in Portland is over 6,000 square feet.
Get out.
Yeah, these were built back in the
That is humongous.
way back when and all this stuff. So what they're doing is they're taking the same footprints and they're converting them. So what they're doing,
Into what, 1500s?
it depends how much you can fit on a lot. There's a bunch of criteria, but the reality of it is they're taking some people on the side of property rights, right, which is an important thing. Some people say, hey, you're taking my right away from a single family detached. And that's not what they're doing. They're saying, if you're single family detached, right, and you're living in it, cool. But if you want to change it, this is the new rules. And so what they're doing is they're taking a single family detached lot, right?
Yeah, come back to us, J-Dubs, yeah.
They're doing a single family detached lot. And on that lot, they're instead of having one family, in this particular case, you can have up to 6 families, depending on the criteria. Now, there's affordable, if you do for affordable housing, you get bonus density and all these different things. It's a little bit too complicated to kind of talk about at the length of
Well, we can-
7 minutes.
No, we can go longer, and it's interesting. This is what I love about this show. This is what I love about what you're creating, is this long form. So Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum, smart guy.
I think so, yeah.
Watching start to finish.
Unless he disagrees with me.
Watching start to finish. He wants, you're going to love this. Compare Portland's vision of what you're presenting now
Oh, yeah. I know where he's going.
to the New Hill Development Corporation's vision for the Star Hill neighborhood. And it's interesting. Neil is there a camera? Does he have a camera in here? Does he have a listening device? Neil, are you under here? Neil? Because, can you put it on screen? Why don't you, I have it here if you want me to show it. Oh, you have it? Why don't we both show it? We'll both show it here. Neil, check this out. You got a 2-shot? Yeah, we got it right here. Neil, you're a smart man. We literally are making...
Does Neil have in our
New Hill Development Corporation right
no,
now?
No. Is Neil now part of our chemistry?
He watches the show.
There you go.
I love when he chimes in.
So,
You going to handle that one?
yeah. Is my phone ringing in my ears?
We got a question from an important viewer.
Yeah. So I guess I got to respond.
I think you do. I think you do.
So, as far as a plan goes, I think it's a good plan, right? I haven't really dissected it enough.
You're saying Star Hills,
Correct.
New Hills plan.
I haven't dissected it enough to really get into it. But on the surface, literally based on the reading I did this morning, I think it has legs. The difference, I think and Neil may agree or disagree with me on this, the price tag on this is huge. And I think that might make it not feasible, right? So, this is a huge dollar amount to implement this. So as far as a plan goes, I think it makes sense. As far as implementation of it is a different story.
You're talking execution.
Correct. And just trying to, draw, and I'm thinking on the fly here, trying to draw the difference between the New Hill, which I think everything they're doing is great. How are you going to implement it? That's my question that I got to at the back end of it when I read it. This RIP, which we surely need to find a really good marketing company to come up with rebrand that, can be done tomorrow.
Right. That just requires some zoning change.
That requires some zoning. Now, there's some costs to the city in it and so forth and so on.
This requires what? $40 to $50 million.
Roughly, yeah.
New Hill.
Minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a development project, right? You're going to have to acquire parcels. You're going to have to develop everything. But every good project starts with a good plan, right?
Sure.
So we got a good plan. This.
Well, go ahead, sorry.
This we can uncan from Portland, clean it up, retool it to meet our requirements, and implement it.
And the beautiful thing about the Portland, the residential infill project, if we were able to can it or uncan it and apply it to Charlottesville, is that will create more housing stock. More housing stock is going to drive down price points. More housing stock is going to give the local municipality, the city of Charlottesville, more real estate tax revenue. More real estate tax revenue, because of the more housing stock, means we could potentially make up this budget deficit we're in. We're due to COVID. The interesting thing about this is the New Hill Development Corporation, and this was my take. My take was just like yours. If you need 40 to 50 million minimum to execute this plan, and teachers and EMTs and firefighters ain't getting paid, how are we going to come up with 40 to 50 million dollars for this?
Well, if you read the article, they'll put a group of folks together. It'll take some time.
Yeah.
So the 3 to 6, I think you can implement this plan, in my opinion, fast track in probably less than 3 years.
Wow.
That's fast track.
How would that even work? How would that need to happen? Does that start at the Planning Commission?
Well, it starts with conversations we're having, right? And it starts with, hey, Heather and Michael, take a look at this, right? And I know those folks think this is a good idea. So let's take the boilerplate. Let's not reinvent toast, sliced bread, right? But let's just, instead of being whatever, rye, we'll make it whole grain, right? And we just tweak it a little bit to meet our criteria. Look, if Yonna's watching, I think she's out actually working.
I think she is watching.
Yeah.
No, I think she is watching.
Yeah. So, and I tend to oversimplify things, right?
Well,
for the sake of a talk show. We're trying to do that. It's a lot of hard work, but it increases density. But what I like the most about this, it increases diversity.
Yeah, of course.
To me, that's the key word, diversity.
This keeps the residential infill project from Portland. This idea would prevent a city from just turning into a rich hodgepodge of people that can afford increased prices and increased taxes. Neil said this, and you make real good points, he's saying. He said, New Hill, this is from Neil Williamson, who's quoting Yolanda Harrell, who's the CEO of New Hill.
Good person, by the way.
Yeah, she's been on this show. She's
person.
good. Yolanda Harrell, CEO of New Hill, said that the city of Charlottesville would need to work with community partners on top of increased tax revenue through investment in other parts of the neighborhood. Quote, we knew that it would have a hefty price tag, and if we're going to get the type of affordability we want to have, we're going to have to get different kind of capital into the mix, end quote, Yolanda Harrell.
Yeah, and she's right, and she knows that because she created the plan. Like I said, it's a great plan. It does some wonderful things. How are you going to implement it? This is great plan that we need to retool, but one can implement this relatively easily. Now, is there the political will to do that or not? That's a different story. Because in essence, what you're doing is you're
potentially creating a heck of a lot more congestion, traffic, and increasing the population.
That's not it. You're rezoning the city.
Well, yeah,
so basically, you're abolishing R1, R1S. That's what this does.
Your.
No, so they literally removed their single-family detached zoning from the city.
But someone can choose to have a single-family detached on their land.
If it's existing, you're fine. If you wanted to rezone some property in the city of Portland, it has to be this. You can't just go single-family detached now. Now, keep in mind, there's like this much property in the city of much like Charlottesville, but it's a great way to tackle the diversity, right? There's a requirement for accessibility, right? So you have to ADA, right? You have to meet certain ADA regulations. You have to meet certain. Go ahead.
Help me understand this. I'm learning from you. This is a legit question.
Good. Usually they are.
If you're in the city of Charlottesville and you own an R1 property, a single-family detached, why would you not embrace this concept? It gives you more options for your property. Like, what is the fatal flaw? The only negative I can potentially see from this, Keith, the only negative is if you increase the density by building 4 units per single property, you're going to have more people, more traffic, more vehicles on the roads, more wear and tear on traffic, more wear and tear on infrastructure. You're going to have more pollution, because you have more roads, there will more cars, there will be more pollution.
So all those things they tackled, and that's why we don't have enough time in this show to go into answer that all of that. But in a short answer of that is, why do people don't wear masks?
Why would the property owner not want more options for their property? I don't. What is the thinking with it?
Why do people not wear masks?
So you're just saying it's just not good thinking?
I'm not going to ever say that about anybody. It's just that's what they believe in, right? Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong. This is what they believe in.
But if I had
a lot of it is I don't want to change, right? I've been here, I don't want any change. You know, that's that whole NIMBY mentality.
If I had a bag of apples, so you're basically saying, if I had a bag of apples, people would rather just sell their bag of apples as a bag of apples, as opposed to taking their bag of apples and selling it as apple pie or apple juice or apple spritzer or apple seltzer or whatever apple crisp you want to do?
I'm not going to counter-argue that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try to go a different way on
Sure.
it. So keeping politics out of everything, right? So as far as housing goes and as far as the regular government, Portland and Seattle, we would consider them pretty progressive thinking cities, right?
Yeah.
So progressive one tends to think a little bit on this side of the needle instead of this side of the needle, right? So if a highly progressive city, right, that you must have a bike in order to get around in because you're required to have a bike to get around in. I'm being facetious.
Sure.
That's not true. On it, embraces YIMBYism. This all came from the progressives in the city of Portland 6 years ago to say it started actually with a developer 6 years ago. And a developer said, hey, kind of like we're doing here, why don't we just increase density?
Yeah, we need more stock.
And it was an affordable housing developer in particular. We need some more density. How about this idea? And it just gravitated over the course of 6 years to get there. A lot of uphill pushing, a lot of fighting. It's just these things go through this process. But the reality of it is that, NIMBYism, not my backyard, in the city of Portland has been replaced by YIMBYism.
Yeah.
So and you would never think that would go together, right? But it does. So the progressive folks or the governments and the folks in Charlottesville, Portland, the developers, the affordable housing folks, the city itself, the builders, everybody, and the local residents all got and embraced this. That doesn't mean. I think if you look at the vote, I think it was a 4-3 vote. I mean, it wasn't a
landslide.
Landslide on it.
So this, I love this topic. This is a show. This is like 2 shows. This is like 4 shows. Okay.
Well, we're going to call in if you think it's good, I can call in my buddy Robert Liberty out in
We should
Portland
totally
State.
do that. We should totally do that. Neil makes this point here. Banning single-family detached is not the answer.
So they don't ban them. So let me clarify my thing.
Okay.
If you're going to change, right? If you're going to do something other, so if you have a single-family detached home on this lot, but if you're going to change that, if you want to
Make it an apartment of 4.
whatever it is, this
Yeah.
is the new rule that they need to follow, and they're trying to. And there's a bunch of incentives in here, right? If you do affordable housing, you get a tax break and all these kinds of stuff.
The libertarian in me, the
Sure.
free market capitalist in me, I'm a free market guy.
Yeah, I get
You
it.
know that. He says, permit everything and let the market decide.
Yeah, and that's what and literally that's what Portland has done.
I love this.
Right, so they're
yeah.
giving this as an option. They're incentivizing, right? They're incentivizing Jerry and Neil to do this, right? We're doing this. They're not abolishing anything. So if I misspoke, I apologize on that end of it. But yeah, this is going to take a lot of brain damage to get there. The New Hill thing is a great plan. It's going to take a lot of brain damage and a ton of money to get there.
We should get Yolanda and Michael in here.
Sure. So I was only going to spend a couple minutes on
I
it,
love
so
it.
it turned into be a little bit more than that. I'm personally proud to be very tiny part of this. In it, in a way, Charlottesville has been part of this because I was part of the ADU thing, and that's how I got introduced to this and brought into it. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm going to run it up the flagpole and see if we can get a little traction on it.
The fabulous Iris Luck says, we need more conversations on this topic.
Sure,
Thank you, Keith, for bringing this up.
we'll do.
I absolutely love it.
We'll bring in some folks I've worked with out in Seattle and Portland on this. If I can get them to wake up early enough, that's the problem.
Iris, thank you for watching the show. Thank you
Thank you,
for giving
Iris.
that perspective. You killed it. We have a
Yeah.
video.
We do. What time is it?
It is
Oh, look at that.
11:20. J-Dubs, should we have the video? Before the video, how about a final word from the distinguished gentleman?
Yeah, every time we do, let's just be kind to one another. Yeah. Let's be respectful for other people. If you're out wandering around, put a mask on, please.
Yeah.
Let's look out for the other guy, the other gal, the other person. And that's it. Just it's not all about you.
I love it.
It's about the other guy.
I love it. It's a good message. Judah, you ready? Let's see the out video. Guys, the Yes Team, trusted advisors in the game. Everybody that's watching, whether on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iTunes, Keith and Yonna Smith. Keith and Yonna Smith of the Yes Team Realtors.
Before you do, I want to give you guys a shout out.
Thank you.
I've been pushing for this Instagram thing, which I have no idea what the hell it means.
Tuesday, you're going to be, this is basically what it's happening. Why don't we close on a one shot here and we go, and we'll get out with the video. Give me a one shot. So starting next week, guys, we've improved our technology and our software at I Love CVille and the I Love CVille Network. And we're going to now take the show starting next week in Instagram Live, everything that happens here onto Instagram. Well, guys, the I Love CVille Instagram account is the 3rd largest one in Central Virginia and in Charlottesville. Only the city of Charlottesville and the University of Virginia have more followers than UVA. So we're basically taking social media and turning it into channels for our programming, and giving the distinguished gentleman even more visibility for that fabulous haircut, manicured mustache, and dapper attire that he wears every single day.
Wow. I was trying to make it about you. How did you turn it back to me?
I'm Robin. You're Batman.
Yeah,
that's
right.
what I'm supposed to do. Real Talk, Insider's Guide to Real Estate, presented by the Yes Team Realtors. Judah Wickower in 3, 2, and 1.